Just 1 second, sir. I'll just record it.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, you can start, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, good morning, everyone. So, before getting into the session, I'll just get a confirmation on my audio. Whether my audio is clear for everyone, just give me a confirmation on my audio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
It's audible.
yeah, okay, thank you then. So, yes, so in today's session, right, the first one of our just you're going to see about cloud service for enabling IoT application, both commercial and IoT. I hope in the yesterday session also we have came across this IoT on Firebase Cloud. In that, I think so. Nagarajan have handled the class. In that, just you have seen only about Firebase, correct? So in today's class, just I'm going to tell you what are the different kinds of clouds are available and how it will be useful on different scenarios. Okay, so that is what we are going to see in today's session. So the first one, we are going to start with a cloud again, and this is already what's been shown by Nagarajan. Okay, so actually, if you see a cloud, we have two different kinds of a cloud. One will be an active cloud, and another one will be an passive cloud. So first, I'm going to tell you about this passive cloud only. Okay, so if you see this passive cloud, right, that will be used only for storage purposes. Like for example, we can I can say one example as Google Drive. In a Google Drive, I can store a file. Okay, whenever I want, I can access it back. Okay, so that is the functionality of passive cloud. It can be used only for storage. So you might have seen the same example with Firebase on the last session. Okay, so that involves this passive cloud configuration only. It meant only for storage. So when we come to this passive cloud, right, we should know something about protocols. Okay, we should know something about a protocol, like what are the protocols are required for a connectivity. So actually, when it comes to cloud, right, it will involve two protocols. Okay, one protocol will be used to establish the connectivity. Okay, so here we'll be using two protocol. One protocol will be used for establishing the connectivity, and we'll be using another protocol to transfer a data. Okay, so in this you can able to see I have mentioned some protocols. Just a minute. So let me take a laser pointer. Yeah. So here you can able to see I have mentioned few protocols like Wi-Fi, Ethernet, cellular, and LoRaWAN. Okay, so these are the protocols which enables a connectivity between a different controllers or different systems. Okay, so these protocols will be used to establish the connectivity. So if you want to connect a mobile and a laptop, or two laptop, or my laptop to my internet, whatever it may be. Okay, if you want to establish a connection, you need some protocol, communication protocol or a connectivity protocol. In those cases, you can go for any one of these protocol to establish an connection. And then we have a different kind of connectivity. Like I can connect device to device, device to device in the sense I can connect my laptop to another laptop or my laptop to my mobile. Okay, so I'm directly connecting a two device, right? This kind of connectivity will be calling as device to device connectivity. And the next one will be device to server. Device to server in the sense we can connect our system directly to the cloud. Okay, that will be calling as device to server. And the third one is server to server. It will be like we can directly connect two cloud. The data transfer will occur between two clouds. Okay, so these are the three different data transfer can be done with the help of this IoT protocol. Okay, and I list few protocols which will be used to send a data to cloud. So here, as I mentioned, you can able to see HTTP, WebSocket, DTT, DTS, MQTT, and AMQP. Okay, so these are the most popular protocols. Okay, apart from this, we have many protocols, but these are the most popular protocols which supports in cloud. Okay, in the last session, you might have used this HTTP protocol to send a data to Firebase, correct? So yes, and sorry, yeah, in this you could able to see these protocols, right? In the bottom, I have mentioned few protocols. These protocols for data transfer and these protocols, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, cellular, and LoRaWAN. Okay, so these four protocols for establish the connectivity. Okay, don't confuse with this. Whenever we work with an IoT, so we have to be careful with difference between this connectivity protocol and the data transfer protocol. Okay, so yes, so when we want to connect with cloud, okay, so there are two ways to connect with cloud. The first method is creating your own public IP. It means we can set up our own cloud in our place. For example, in your college you want to use some storage purpose like a cloud. In that case, we'll be having two options. One first option is we can make an infrastructure for cloud in your college. The cloud will be meant only for you, so we can directly use that. So those kind of cloud will be calling as public IP. Okay, that will be that cloud can be accessed only by your college. Okay, but the problem with this own public IPs, it will be costly, like this for storage or getting the access, right? Everything will be a little bit costly. So instead, what we can do is we can rent the cloud from some service provider, like whatever we are going to use is free one. Apart from that, if you want to get a better performance, right, we can buy some cloud services also. So in today's class, I'm just going to show you with some free service provider which we can use, which is already available by some service provider. Okay, we don't want to make a setup for a cloud. Already a cloud service is provided by some of the companies. We can directly use those cloud services. Okay, so here I have mentioned few clouds which is being support for a LabVIEW. So here you can able to see Google. That is what you have used yesterday. Okay, the Firebase, right? That is the cloud from Google. And the next one, AWS, that is an Amazon Web Service, AWS is. And then we have PTC ThinkWorks, IBM, and so on. Okay, we have so many cloud supports available for LabVIEW. And as I already told you in the last class, okay, you have seen with Firebase, right? The problem with that Firebase cloud is we can able to write only a data. Okay, the problem with Firebase cloud is think that you are acquiring some data in a cloud. We can able to store only a values. Okay, I can't able to store any files. Okay, so today class, even today, I'm gonna start with AWS cloud only. Okay, in this AWS cloud, the advantage of this AWS cloud is instead of storing a value, I can directly store a file, and that file can be accessed from my mobile or AWS console. Okay, think that my laptop is in Bangalore and it is keep acquiring a data, it is storing in a file. That file is keep uploading to the cloud. Okay, let us consider like that. Okay, I want to view the file. So to view the file, either I can install AWS console software in my mobile, I can access it, else I can directly view in a web itself. Okay, I can directly open the console in a browser, in a laptop or in a mobile. I can open, and there I can able to access the file. Okay, so here in today's class, just we are going to see how to write a file in a cloud. The program is going to be very simple. Before that, I'll just show you how to configure the cloud. Okay, so meanwhile, if you have any doubt or if you want to ask anything regarding this cloud service, till now you can ask. If you have any doubts, else we can directly go for configuration. If you have anything to ask, right, you can ask now. Okay, fine. So let me directly show you how to configure the AWS console first. Okay, so let me open Amazon Web Service. Okay, I'll just search it as AWS console and I'll open the first link. Okay, and to use this AWS, we have to create a login, and for a free version also, we have to pay some 1 or 2 rupees. That's it. Okay, so if you have a credit card, we can get a login and we can directly make use of this. So I'll just log in with my account. Yeah, it's actually directly logged in. Okay, then great then. So basically, once after we log in, right, this is the window we'll be getting over here. So if I expand the service, we'll be having so many functionalities with this Amazon Web Service. And here, as I already told you, we are going to use this AWS cloud for storage. Okay, we are going to use this AWS cloud for storing a file. So if I click on the service, and here I'll be having a storage option, and here we'll be having an option called scalable storage in a cloud, that is S3. Okay, so S3 is actually scalable storage in a cloud. Okay, so once if we click, we'll take this to the S3 cloud dashboard. Okay, so already I have a few projects in my S3 dashboard. Okay, so here I can able to see like BA solutions project. I have so many projects. Okay, as of now, I'm going to create a new project. Okay, already I have few buckets. Okay, I'm not going to use an existing bucket. I'm going to create a new bucket. Okay, so to create a bucket, what I can do is here the top will be having an option called create bucket. Okay, so just let me click on create bucket, and here I can enter the required name for my bucket. Okay, for example, here I'll just give a name as Nagarjuna. Okay, and let me click choose bucket. Sorry. Okay, so and the setting I'll copy from the existing one. Okay, so let me choose create. Okay, so it's showing the name is already available. Okay, so just I'll type it as 0109. Okay, so it's showing that name is already available. So I'll create again. Yes, so now I have created a new bucket like Nagarjuna 0109. Okay, so already I have few buckets. If I open that, right, you can able to see there are some files are available. Okay, so if you open this VA solution project, here you can able to see few files are available. But if you open this Nagarjuna, okay, Nagarjuna 0109 bucket, inside this none of the files are available. The reason, just now I have created this bucket. Okay, now what I need to do is I want to upload a file, or I want to move a file inside this bucket using a Labby program. Okay, so that is what we have to do now. So yes, so let me come back to here. So now we can directly get back to LabVIEW, and to access this cloud, I hope you remember, for accessing the Firebase cloud, we have EOS.json link. I hope you remember in the yesterday's class, Mr. Nagarajan might shown you how to access the Firebase cloud. He have used a link, correct? In the same way, to access this AWS cloud, we have an option called keys. Okay, so keys, we have to enable the login credential. Okay, we have to get the login credential. So how we can access that credential is if we go to your account. Okay, we'll be having an option called my security credentials. Okay, if I go to my account, we'll be having an option called my security credentials. Okay, I'll click on it, and here we'll be having access keys. Okay, here we'll be having access keys. For an account, we can able to create only two access key. Okay, already I have two keys. Okay, so today I have created one key. Can able to see, so April 24th. Okay, so today I have created a one key. So just before the session, right, I have created one access key, and I have downloaded the key in my system. Okay, if I go to download, right, here you can able to find the downloaded key. Okay, while we are creating, we can able to download this. You can able to see, just see these last 5 characters for web queue, right? So this is the name which I created today for web queue. This is the access key ID which I created today. So to access this cloud, we should know the access key ID and we should know the secret key. Okay, we should know both these characters, only then we can able to access our cloud. Okay, so now we have both access key and security key, so now we can directly access the cloud. So this AWS cloud, right, its programming is very simple. Just we have to use only 2 functions, that's it. Okay, to write a data into cloud, just we need to use a 2 function. I'll just show you. So let me create a new VI. Okay, so let me maximize the block diagram. And moreover, to use this cloud, Amazon Web Service, we have to install a separate toolkit. Okay, so like for Firebase, you have used HTTP palette, right? That will come along with your LabVIEW itself. But for this Amazon Web Service, right, we have to download a separate toolkit. So that is cloud interface for Amazon Web Service. That is the toolkit, okay, that you have to install from VA Package Manager. Okay, I have already downloaded the toolkit. So once you download it, and if you go to add-on, here we can able to see NI Cloud Toolkit for AWS. Okay, so actually we have to use 2 things. Okay, one toolkit is NI Cloud Toolkit for AWS. Using this, we can write a data to cloud. Okay, so this toolkit will be used to write a data to cloud. And from cloud, if you want to read any data, in that case we have to go for LabVIEW interface for Amazon S3. Okay, so we have to use 2 palette for writing as well as reading. Okay, in today's session, I'm just going to show you how to push a data into cloud. Okay, I'm not going to read a data from cloud to LabVIEW. Just I'm going to push a data from LabVIEW to cloud. That's it. Okay, so let me go to AWS. As you know, I'm going to use S3 cloud, S3 storage. So I'll go to S3 storage and let me pin this. Okay, and here we know that already I have created the bucket. Okay, in my cloud, you can able to see. Okay, let me come back to my service S3. Okay, in this you can able to see already I have created my bucket. So I don't want to create it from LabVIEW. So in LabVIEW, what I supposed to do is I have to obtain the existing bucket. So what I'll do is first I'll use obtain bucket. So here we'll see what are the terminals are available. The terminals are like AWS credential and bucket name. For both the terminals, I'm going to create a control, AWS credential and a bucket name. Okay, I have created a control for both terminals, both the input terminals. Now I'll go to front panel. Okay, in AWS credential, I want to type, okay, access key and secret key. Okay, I have to give access key and secret key, so that I have downloaded as an Excel file. Okay, just I'll copy and paste access key. Okay, then secret key. Yes, so just I have copied and pasted the access key and secret key. Next, I have to give the bucket name. So for bucket name, I should go to my cloud and yes, this is my bucket name. Just I'll copy and I'll put it over here. Okay, so now this function obtain bucket, right? This function will establish the connection between LabVIEW and my cloud. Okay, why? Because I have entered the credential for accessing the cloud, and then I specify the bucket name to specify where to save my file. Okay, so now we have established, using this function, we are going to establish the connection to our cloud. So the next one is I want to write a file into my cloud. For that, we have to use put object from file. Okay, so this is the function we are going to use. Let me place it over here. This function is put object from file. Okay, so in this you can able to see there are three required terminals: bucket in, object, path, and file. So bucket in is actually the reference, so I'll just pass the reference to this block. Okay, from obtain bucket, just I'm passing the reference. And the next one is file path. In the file path, we need to specify which file we are going to push into the cloud. So for this, I'm going to create a control. I'm going to select file using this file path control. Okay, and then in your cloud, you need to specify a name for the file. So that name we have to specify here. So for this, again, I'm going to create a control for object path. This is just a file path in your cloud. Okay, so just I have specified all the required things. This is the code to push a file to cloud. Just we need to open the access to cloud by entering the credential and bucket name, and then using this put object from file block, we have to specify the file path. Obviously, whatever the file we selected, right, that will be pushed to cloud. Okay, so now we'll just see how exactly it works. So I'll click on this browse path function. So I'll try to push this root key. Okay, so I have one function as a root key. So I'll select this, and else I'll try to push some image. Okay, so yes, just a minute. I have some images. Okay, so I'll just select this image and let me click OK. And even here for object path, I'll just type it as image1. Okay, I have selected one image to push into the cloud. Okay, once I run this, okay, as it is going to push an image, it will take some data. So okay, fine, just the region might be the problem. I'll just edit the region. Sorry. Okay, so just a minute. I have to change it. It's actually not changing. Okay, let me try to run again. Okay, better I'll delete the existing one and I'll create a new one. So while configuring, I have not mentioned, it seems. I'll delete this. I'll create a new bucket. So yes. Okay, so here I'll choose. Okay. Yep. And then I'll choose the existing setting. Then I'll create a bucket. Okay, so just I have to change the location. I forgot to change the location because before it used Asia. Okay, it will not work with Asia. Okay, so just I have changed it. So now the new name is Nagarjuna 1123. Okay, so just I'll make a copy of this and we'll check now. Okay, so let me click on bucket name and I'll copy this. Yes. So now you could able to see it took some time to upload a file and it stops without any error. Okay. So now if I open the cloud, okay, just I need to refresh. Now you can able to see one file is been uploaded to my cloud like an image. If I click on the image, uh, okay, I click on the URL. Actually here it is not able to visible actually. Okay, fine. So okay, so something I might be disabled, I think so. Okay, so not a problem. But here you can able to see the image is being uploaded over here. Okay, if you want to upload any other file, what I need to do is just I need to select a new file, not only an image. I'll just try to push this CSV file, Excel file, and here I'll just put it as key. Okay, now if I run, now you can able to see I have only a single file in my system like image one. Okay, even if I refresh, only one file is available. Now I'm going to write a new file, and for that file I'm going to give a name key. Okay, so now if I run again, it will take some time to upload a file because based on the internet strength, right, it upload speed will vary. Okay, so now it's been uploaded. Now if I click refresh this, now it has two files. Okay, key as well as my image. Okay, so actually we can able to see the data. I don't know why it is not coming. Let me check. We can able to see it. I think so. Again, somewhere I made a mistake on configuration, I think so. Sorry. Okay, fine. So let that be closed. Okay, I'll show you how to view this file in mobile. Okay, so for that I'll just share my mobile screen here. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll just show you how to access these files in mobile. Meanwhile, I'll connect my mobile to the system. Yes. Yes, just I have shared my mobile screen. Yes, just now I installed this software also in my mobile, that is AWS Console. If you open, uh, it's just I log in this. Okay, so even here we have to go to services, S3. Even here you can able to see all the buckets will be listed over here. Whatever the bucket we want, right? Just we can open. Sorry, if I go to two objects, we can able to see that file. Okay. Okay, so fine. I think yeah, the problem may be because of the configuration only. I'll just show you the files in a different bucket. I'll just come back to another one. So here you can able to see few objects are there. Okay, if I open this, yeah, the file is been downloaded, and I can able to see that file. Okay, so in this way every file will be uploaded and we can able to see with the AWS cloud. Okay, so yes, I think so I made some setting change, like I have disabled to view the file, I think so that is the reason we can't able to see it. Okay, but if you change the setting, right, we can able to see the file in lab as well as mobile. If you have not changed, again we have to read back the file, only then we can able to see. Just we need to disable the setting. Okay, so that's it about this pushing the data into cloud. Okay, so this will be calling it as an active passive cloud, and this will be an industrial IoT. Okay, because we are going to use a cloud from some service provider and we are using it. Okay, and we have another option called local network transfer. for this local network transfer, right, we doesn't requires internet itself. Okay, so every people are thinking like internet of thing, IoT can be done only through internet. It is not like that. Okay, if a two hardware or two system can able to share a data through some communication, okay, even that we can call it as an IoT. That will be calling as an commercial IoT. Okay, so that will be calling it as an commercial IoT. So here we have some methods to transfer data within a local network. The local network in the sense, if 100 laptops or PC connected in a same network. Okay, so if 100 laptops or PC or mobile, okay, whatever it may be, okay, if 100 systems are connected in the same network, to share a data between those hardwares or a system, which doesn't requires a internet. If all the PCs are in the same network, that will be enough. Okay, so here we have different methods to transfer a data. Like if both system supports LabVIEW, like I have two system, like two PC, okay, one PC, both the PCs has LabVIEW. In that case, I can use either a shared variable or network stream to transfer a data. Think that I have two PC. In one PC, I installed LabVIEW, and in another PC, I don't have LabVIEW, I have MATLAB. Okay, think that in another PC, I don't have a LabVIEW, but I have MATLAB. In those cases, what we can do is we can use TCP/IP or UDP protocol to transfer a data. The reason because both supports TCP/IP and UDP protocol. That is the reason. Okay, if both are LabVIEW target, both are installed with LabVIEW, we can use shared variable or network stream. If both are a different platform like LabVIEW and MATLAB, LabVIEW or Python or something like that, okay, in those cases you can use TCP/IP or UDP protocol. Okay, in this session I'm going to show you between LabVIEW target only, and even in that I'm going to use shared variable. Okay, even in this I'm going to use only shared variable. Using this shared variable, we can communicate between computer to machine. Okay, I can transfer a data between system to machine. It can be a controller. Okay, so here machine in the sense a controller, and then machine to machine means controller to controller, then controller to mobile. Okay, even we can able to transfer a data to mobile also. We have a specific software for it. And then mobile to machine in the sense mobile to controller. Okay, all these are the different possible node, and the same way we can able to transfer a data between computer to mobiles also. Okay, in this session I'm just going to show you how to transfer a data between mobile to laptop or laptop to mobile. Okay, so that is the thing I'm going to show you. For that, you have to be installed with the software in your mobile called data dashboard for LabVIEW. Okay, so this software you should install in your mobile. Only then we can able to do this. Okay, so yes, so this software is available for all the platform. You can able to download and use it. Okay, so we'll come to this mobile later. First, I have to create this shared variable in LabVIEW. Okay, so we'll see how to do that. So let me close this and let me come back to LabVIEW. Okay, so to access this, what is that? Shared variable, right? First, we need to create a project. So I'll close this VI. So this is your main window, right? So usually if you want to develop any LabVIEW program, we'll directly create a VA. But whenever we need to use this shared variable, we can't do like that. First, we have to create a project. In a project, we have to create a shared variable. Only then we can able to use the shared variable in a VA. Okay, so we can't able to create a VA directly. Have to create a project. In a project, we need to create a shared variable. Then we can able to use the remaining part. So what I'll do is I'll go to File, New. Okay, I'm going to choose project, empty project. Okay, I'll expand the project and I'm going to choose empty project. Let me click OK. So now we can able to see it created a project window. It created a project window. Under my project, I have only my computer. That's it. Okay, under my project, I have only my computer. So now what I'll do is, what we have to do is, we have to create a shared variable under this project. So to create a shared variable, I'll right click, I'll go to new, and here we'll be having an option called variable. Okay, by this way we have to create a project. Okay, we have to create a variable. So now before creating the variable, I'm going to create a VA. So I'll develop some simple logic. Okay, I'm going to create a new VA. Okay, now my requirement is have to give input. Okay, just try to understand. I want to give input in Celsius. I want to convert into Fahrenheit, and I'll be keeping some threshold. Like if the Fahrenheit value crosses some threshold, I need to get some indication. Okay, like my input will be in Celsius. Okay, my input will be in Celsius. Then I want to get output in a Fahrenheit. And whenever a Fahrenheit will be specify some threshold. Okay, if Fahrenheit crosses some threshold, I need to get indication in this Boolean LED. Like I can change this like alert. Okay, I can change this name as an alert. Okay, so now I'll just develop a code for this. So the logic is very simple. So Celsius should be multiplied with 1.8, then it should be added with 32. Okay, so create a constant 32, and we'll be passing this to Fahrenheit indicator. Okay, so this is the logic. And then for an alert, what I'll do is I'm going to use a comparison function. Like I'll use greater than or equal to 100. Okay, if the Fahrenheit value crosses 100, I need to get an indication. Just a simple logic. Okay, so now if I run this code, it will work. Okay, so now if I run this code, it will work. There is no doubt in it. Okay, so like here I'll give continuous run. So whatever the value I give, the corresponding Fahrenheit value will be displayed. Now you can able to see the Fahrenheit value is 86. Once it reaches, or once it crosses 100, this alert boolean is getting enabled. Correct. So now my requirement is I have to do some change in my code so that this input and all these outputs, right, I should able to access in my mobile. Okay, so to do that, what I'll do is just I'm going to do some change. Like I'm going to take a case structure. Okay, I'm going to take a case structure. Sorry, yes, only for this control I have to take a case structure, and I'm going to create control for this. Create control. Okay, if this boolean value is true. Okay, if this boolean value is true, for my logic I'm going to give input from LabVIEW. Okay, if this boolean value is true, I'm going to give input for the conversion from LabVIEW control. Okay, if my boolean value is false, I have to give input from my mobile using shared variable. To do that, first I have to create an shared variable. Okay, so to create a shared variable, I need to get back to my project window. In a project window, I'll right click on my computer, I'll click new, then variable. Okay, I'll click on new, then I'll choose variable. I'll be getting in one more window. So first thing is I need to specify a name for my variable. Okay, so name I'll just put it as C. Okay, then you need to choose the data type. Okay, we know that the Celsius data type is double precision. Okay, so the data type by default it will be double only. Let it be double. You can directly click OK over here. Okay, now we can able to see I created one shared variable and it is under the library called untitled library 1. So I can edit this library name. So I can rename it. Okay, I'll just go to save. I'll click save as. Let me save on desktop. I'll put it as Celsius. Okay, name I have given as Celsius. My library name is Celsius. Under that I have C. Okay, so next I'm going to create one more variable. Okay, this I'm going to give it as Fahrenheit. Even this is double. Let me click OK. Now I have one more library. Okay, untitled library 2. So I'll click save as. I'll just put it as FER. Let me click OK. So now I have two libraries. Under each library I have one variable. Under the Fahrenheit library itself I'm going to create one more variable, and this name I'm going to give it as alert. Okay, for this name I'm going to give it as alert, and the alert data type you can able to see it is a boolean. Okay, so I'll choose boolean and let me click OK over here. So yes, now I have created three variables for Celsius, Fahrenheit and alert. So now what I'll do is I'll go to false case. In a false case I'm going to place this Celsius, and the data terminal you can able to see it is on right side. It means it is going to read a data. Yes, I want this shared variable to read the data, so it is reading it. Okay, next you can able to see Fahrenheit and alert. So I want to access these two also. So Fahrenheit, I'll place it over here. Even this one is configured to read, but actually I want to write the data. So what I'll do is I'll right click, I'll go to access mode, I'll change it to write. Okay, I'll right click and I'll change its access mode to write. Then I'll be connecting the value. Just a minute. Yeah, okay. So, okay, fine. So next, the last one is the Fahrenheit. So the Fahrenheit also I'll just drag and drop. Okay, we don't need to do a much thing, just we need to drag and drop. Then right click, access mode, right, and I can directly connect it over here. The simple thing, instead of controls and indicators, now I use the shared variable. If this boolean value is false, my logic will take input from my mobile. If this boolean value is true, it will take input from the Celsius control. Okay, now we have completed a logic in LabVIEW. So before running this code, we need to deploy all these things. Okay, so I'll right click on my project. Just a minute. Okay, sorry, I'll right click, I'll choose deploy all. The same way for Fahrenheit also I'll choose deploy all. And here the one thing which you can able to notice is you're getting an IP address. Okay, you can able to see 192.160.0.106, right? This is the IP address where all these variables are what is that deployed. So either you can able to access the IP address over here, else in a command prompt even here you can able to access the IP address. If you type ipconfig, right, you can able to see 190, sorry, where is it? Yeah, IP4 address you can able to see 192.168.0.106. Okay, so here you can verify where it's been published. Okay, why? Because this IP address I need to type in my mobile, only then I can able to access it. Okay, that is the reason I want this IP address. So yes, here everything is completed. Okay, in LabVIEW side we have completed everything. So now just we need to configure these variables in mobile. So in mobile, again I'll establish the connection through AnyDesk. I think so it's disconnected again. Yes. connected, and here I have my data dashboard app. Yes, so this is the app. This is the main window you'll get when you open a data dashboard. Here you can able to see we have an add button, right? By clicking this, we can create a new dashboard. I'll click on this. Once you click, you will be getting one window like this. Okay, like in the top we'll be having a run setting, and this is just a tab, and this is an palette window. Okay, and if we come here, if we come to our lab view, I need one control. Okay, I need one numeric control, one numeric indicator, one boolean indicator, right? I have to access all those things in my dashboard. So what I'll do is I'll click on palette. First I'll go to control. I'll take one numeric control, just select, and then place it over here. Okay, so this is actually my control. Okay, so again I'll click on palette. I'll go to indicator. I need one numeric indicator. Then I need one boolean indicator. Okay, I have taken all the required things. Okay, I have taken all the required controls and indicator. So next, what we are supposed to do is we have to configure this controls and indicator to our shared variable. To configure, once if you click on the control, in the bottom we'll be having something like a graph icon. Okay, just click on it. Okay, I want to configure with demo variable, and here we need to type the IP. Just let me check what is the IP address. Okay, 192.168.0.106. Okay, so just I type the IP. Let me click connect. Yes, I have clicked on connect. So here I have so many variables which I have created even before also. But now we know that my control is under Celsius library. So I'll click on it. I'll select C. So now this is configured. How you can identify this configured is this graph icon. Now you can able to see it's coming in green color. But if you see these things, it will be coming in black. That indicates these two are not configured. And again, I'll click on this. This I need to configure for Fahrenheit. So I'll click on variable, shared variable. I think so. This is the IP. So I'll go to Fahrenheit and I'll choose my numeric. Then my boolean, shared variable, IP, Fahrenheit, and I have my alert boolean. Okay. So even here, the configuration was over. So now I just need to run and see the output. Okay. As we know, if this boolean is true, it will take input from here. Okay. If this is false, it will take input from my dashboard. We'll check. Here, let me click close. Sorry, I'll give continuous run. Close, and even here I'll run. Okay, so I'll just enter some value. So now I entered 130. Okay, it is not working for my lab control. Okay, it is not working for this C. It is working for this Celsius. Okay, so I'll just make a change. Okay, I'll just change it as 2. Okay, the new Fahrenheit is calculated. Now alert value has been decreased. Okay, I'll try to increase this some 50. Now my Fahrenheit value is increased. My alert is enabled. It will be enabled both lab view as well as in dashboard. Okay, as this boolean value is false, it is taking input from my dashboard. Think that I want to give input from lab view using this control. In that case, what I am supposed to do is I have to make this boolean false. Okay. Now, whatever the value I give in lab view, for that a Fahrenheit value and alert will be enabled, and the output will be displayed in both lab view as well as dashboard. We can able to see if I enter some 62 and if I click update, the new value is updated here as well as it update on my mobile dashboard also. Okay, if you want to monitor in a local area like within your college, something like that, in that case what you can do is you can connect your laptop as well as mobile to same network. Here you can able to see my laptop as well as my mobile. Okay, both are connected to same network. Okay, you can able to see both are connected to the same Wi-Fi. So that is the reason I can able to transfer it. Okay, now if I turn off this Wi-Fi, okay, so till now we can able to see it is working. Okay, perfectly it is working. So if I change anything, it is updating over here, right? So now what I'll do is just I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi. Okay, I think so it's disconnected. Okay, so it is totally disconnected from the internet. Yeah, so I'll try to connect it again. So now if I try to update any value, right, it will not update. The reason both are not in a same network. Okay, both are not in the same network. It is simply showing an error. Okay, it is just showing the error. I'll stop and I'll run this again. Still we are getting, it will be keep loading and we'll be getting an error. So what I'll do is I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi again. Yeah, I'll reconnect it. So once the internet changes, right, the connectivity is getting disturbed. Just give me a minute, it will connect. Accept. Yes. So now it's connected actually. Uh, if I update, you can able to see this updating again. So now the reason because both both are connected in a same network. Okay, so this data dashboard, right, we can able to use only if two systems are under a same network. Yes, we have to go for internet only. Like you have to go for Firebase or you have to go for AWS to transfer a data. We have to go for some a cloud which works with internet. But to communicate from my system and mobile, right, it doesn't require the internet. It just need a same network. Okay, so there is a difference between a same network and internet. Okay, so here to transfer data from mobile to laptop, we doesn't require an internet. Okay, we need to have a same network. That's it. It is like in your mobile, you can turn on a hotspot without turning on a without turning on a mobile internet, right? It will create a Wi-Fi hotspot. It can able to create a network, but it will not share any internet. Okay, without sharing the internet itself, we can able to transfer a data. But to use your Firebase or Amazon cloud service, right, we should require an internet. Okay, so there is the basic difference between local network and the cloud communication. Okay, so yes, with this I'll close my session. Okay, if you have anything to ask, if you have any queries, right, either you can put it in the chat box, else you can unmute and you can get clarify now. Okay, if you have anything to ask, you can use the chat box. And this is my contact detail. Okay, if you have any queries regarding the lab you write, you people can feel free to reach us. Okay, so we'll be that to help you people. Okay, and if you have any queries, you can just ask in a chat or you can unmute and you can ask. Okay, then if you don't have any doubt, right, we'll close the session. And thank you all for attending this session. And
Thank you, sir.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for responding fast. Yesterday, it was actually Dr. Narasimha Murthy, sir, who was to handle the session, but due to some health emergency, he couldn't attend the session. And we thank you for responding to it fast and
Okay.
attending the session by morning.
Yeah,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for your support and your information and your ideas on cloud computing. It was, in fact, a very interesting one.
Yes.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir. And I request all the participants to join the next session by 11:30 a.m. sharp for the second session, which will be started again by Satyanarayan, sir. So make sure every one of you attend the session without fail. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you. Yeah, thank you so much.